Good afternoon, folks, and we're going to be taking a look at the Anthem subreddit. And it's been, I don't know, a few weeks since I jumped on, and there's always something new in the Anthem world, something broken, something that's outrageous. But I thought, hey, let's give it a gander, see what's going on. And I found some new, not fun, but kind of funny things if you want to have that certain sadistic, joking, comic laughter in your head half the time whenever you talk about Anthem, which tends to follow me around. So let's just go over it. It seems typical, normal. I changed the graphic up here. Community help thread seems normal. Ask your fellow freelancers. Trying to get a game going sounds cool. Now I've seen this sort of Twitter feed before, and I'll just say one thing about it. Wait, so do I have this right? EA purchased the multiplayer-focused Studio Respawn and asked them to make a single-player only story-driven RPG, but ordered BioWare, the studio that is arguably the best in the world at single-player story-driven RPGs, to make a Destiny clone. That's not true. What EA did in BioWare's case was ask them to use a certain engine, and it was BioWare's job to do whatever the hell they wanted with it. Obviously, they had to talk about what kind of game they wanted to make, and EA gave them the go-ahead. And that took 6 to 7 years. I don't know the story with Respawn exactly. I do know it was Unreal, so there was no mandate to use the Frostbite engine. But it's entirely up to the people working at the developer houses to pitch their idea to their publishers, and they say, great, go for it. So this is not completely accurate. It's just still nowadays ironic, especially with the closure of, was it Jedi Outcast? With Amy Hennig as the writer. So I'm kind of curious what happened here, because apparently EA is really hardcore on not having any microtransactions or multiplayer with their games now, because a lot of the fans didn't like that. So you got to wonder what happened to that game and why they're not bringing that back as well, because I'm sure that would also sell well. Who doesn't want to play a new Star Wars game that's single player and story driven? So let's see what we got here. The devs don't care about your game is dying posts. This is what playing the game looks like, even if the CMs are radio silent. So here we start getting into, this is more of a problem. People are posting about the game on Reddit as opposed to actually playing the game, because they just can't take it anymore. There's nothing worth doing. This is one of them I wanted to go over. All my friends quit. So here it is. Just logged on out of curiosity with the shop. Still sucks. I checked my Alliance page to find it empty. It was empty last week as well. It has been empty for over a month now. I don't know how this game ended up being so bad. It really makes me sad and hugely disappointed. I don't know if this game even has a chance of turning it around at this point, and neither do I. I don't know what the numbers are. We know that Anthem sold really well the first week, but we don't know what their current player base is like, and how often people are playing. So apparently this is not a good thing. I don't know. Again, successfully complete the Temple of Scar Stronghold. I guess these are two masterworks are not good. Again, don't know. Haven't played the game, don't care. Maybe he's making a joke. Don't really matter to me. Who wants to bet tomorrow's stream will be strictly about the new stronghold, and all conversation about any other issues will be ignored? Yep, that's how it goes. It's all positive. Bioware's always positive. Everything's great. Just keep going. Don't know what this is. They're seriously boring as hell, even when you're able to do this nonstop. So I guess it's, I don't know if that's a glitch, that he's constantly doing something, but he's bored out of his mind, unfortunately. The saddest NPC. It just took me 20 minutes trying to get into free play. Not sure. That's a good thing, or, maybe the load times were worse. Who knows? Seems he's getting kicked. Loading screens. Yeah, that sounds like a bad thing. Okay. All right. So brings us to the main post of a non-scientific study. By non-scientific, just a guy doing a poll. And he asked the community a whole bunch of questions. And you can actually look at the questions in a doc here online. There's all kinds. And these were the results. So let's go over these. And this is interesting because 1,000, up to 1,060 people responded, and they tell a very interesting story of what happened to Anthem and what's been going on. What's the state of the game in the past day? Let's go over these. Have you played Anthem for longer than an hour? Yes. Now, the question you have to ask is, how much of this is loading time? And I've been told they've improved the wait time between screens, and obviously there's the whole lobbying system, how to get in. So that's part of it. So playing these games online, lobbying and waiting is a big thing, but the Anthem case, it was horrible. So obviously you're going to play at least an hour. Not a big deal. Except for Anthem, how much experience have you had with looter shooters? And 45% have said a lot. So it's within the genre that people were expecting. I'm sure there's a lot of these BioWare fans in general, quite a bit. Some are over here somewhere. So this portion is like, yep, I like looter shooters. It's the game I wanted, and I got it. That's why they're playing. They're hardcore. They're into it. They wouldn't be playing otherwise. So out of this selection, what loot-based games have you played? And it's no confusion about what the popular ones are. Destiny, Borderlands, and Diablo. They're pretty much the big ones anyway, and they have pretty much the same setting, space age, futuristic, aside from Diablo, of course. Then there's the free-to-play Warframe. Next, the Division series just came out, and I'm not sure what the Monster Hunter series, there's 2 bars here, so there could be 2 versions of it, and that seems to be popular as well. So again, nothing new, same idea, looter shooter, adventure, action. Obviously the ones with first-person and third-person controls are up there. Here's a big one. How many bugs have you experienced in Anthem so far? None exactly expressing how many, aside from there being a lot. So 49%, or I'd say 50%, rounding up, many. So everyone out of more than half have experienced many. 1/5, or 20.4%, have experienced many, including hardware affecting bugs. So that whole post a few weeks ago about having your console turn off or potentially the game crashing, that would go under hardware. And a few would be a quarter of everyone, so at least that's close to 90, yeah, 80, pretty much 90% of the people here have experienced a bug of some sort, and most of that have been many. And only none, I can't even see none, it's probably right here, I've said there's been no bugs. So this is a random poll, people on Reddit, over 1,000 responses, which is a pretty good number. As far as stats go, how many other people do you actively play Anthem with? If you play alone, please leave this blank. So if you play alone, please leave this blank. Immediately, boom, less than half. So out of the 1,060 people, less than half the people left this blank. That's a big problem with a looter shooter game whose focus is on team play. And the biggest number here is, of course, number 1. So that means someone plays with someone else, so a best friend, a gamer buddy, 40%. That's not good. The game is supposed to be played and was designed to be played with 4 people to get the maximum amount of enjoyment and raid damage and synergy with everyone else. So the game is not being played the way it was designed, essentially. So there's other, all these numbers, 2 and 3, 2-3 players. So that's the idea, is that the 4 max team, a quarter and 1/5. So not good numbers. But maybe people are busy, they're not as friendly online, who knows. But again, the majority of them already are playing by themselves, just because they love looter shooters, and this happens to be one of them. Are you currently in a clan or guild? 88% says no. Again, not much of a community online in this game, which probably affects why you can't team up with people so much. Now, this is a rating from 1 to 5, 5 being the highest, 1 being the lowest. How would you rate the current developer feedback for Anthem? Okay, this is pretty bad. Number 1, 38%, 2, 35.9, 3, 20.1. So that's pretty bad. I mean, it depends on what you don't like about the game, whether you're getting responses based on what you don't like. It could be individual bugs that haven't been addressed, balance issues, loot issues, drop issues, all kinds of things. This is not what you want to see. How would you rate the current loot system for Anthem? Again, 55.8% bad. The worst rating you can give it. And it just tears off. Like, this is horrible. We knew loot was bad, but it's still bad. This is not what you want to see in a looter shooter. This is probably one of the most important metrics on the page, and it's just not a good sign. How would you rate the community based on toxicity? Well, this is sort of questionable. I mean, if you're going to hate a game, you have to ask yourself why you're still in it. And, you know, I don't know if this is applicable, how accurate this would be, because we're talking about people who are hardcore fans at this point, still playing the game. And plus, you're going to have gamers of all sorts being toxic regardless. So it's not like they have a system in place the same way League of Legends does. And we're talking about voice chat, of course, not necessarily typing. So it's toxicity over the headset, I would imagine. How would you rate the current optimization for Anthem for PC players only? Okay, that's a good question, because what have they been optimizing over the weeks? And, you know, load times, frame rates, connectivity, connecting to the system, launching a game. It's not great, but it's not bad. It's in between. So I'd say a 3.5. And of course, he says, I would take this with a grain of salt, since some responders may have confused appearance with how often they occurred instead of how they looked. And this is the next point. How would you rate the cosmetics based on appearance, how they look? So you're talking about the actual gear you could put on, change the way your mech looks, or your javelin looks. And that's always going to be subjective. You could customize it, color scheme, material type. So some people like it, some people don't. Kind of a nice little bell curve going here. Yeah, I mean, not a big problem, but obviously you want positives to be always positive. And cosmetics, if you're not spending money on Anthem, what are you doing spending your money with, aside from not? So how much longer do you think you'll be playing Anthem on an active scale? So again, we're talking about people doing this on a Reddit post, 1,060 responses. More than half say they've already quit. So this sort of puts things in perspective, because if they have already quit, what are they talking about in all these responses up here? So, you know, was the community toxic a month ago? Was the loot system this bad a month ago? So this sort of changes our understanding of all these other graphs. And it could just be people who were fed up a month ago, and now they're feeling out this, and their opinion hasn't changed from that month. So it may not be the exact accurate state of affairs as the game is right now. So this really puts things in perspective, but it goes to show you that there's not a lot of people playing the game. And here we go. What are your views on the future of Anthem? And again, we know these people aren't even playing half the people aren't even playing the game. So you're going to get some pretty bad responses. 12.7 looks horrible. The majority actually tied with the next step up, not looking good at all, looking concerning. So that's roughly 75, more than 75% of the people who did the survey. And I'm assuming half of those would be the people who aren't playing the game anymore. Because why would you be playing the game if it's that bad? Say it's not, it's not going anywhere. It's not getting better. And the closest step up with a number I can read is 9.2, and that means it looks okay. And those have to be the hardcore, not only BioWare players, but hardcore looter shooter players who love the mechanic, who actually enjoy playing the game with friends, who actually have friends to play with. I mean, this is not good. So the question becomes to everyone watching, how long before Anthem gets shut down if it does in fact get shut down? I don't know the parameters that EA has given BioWare because it has sold well the first week, so they've made some money. We don't know how much. But if there's no fan base, if there's no people actively playing, and there's no excitement, there's almost no reason to keep this thing going aside from a very, very small demographic. This was supposed to be a game that was going to change the way that we look at games in the future. It was Project Dylan. It was supposed to be this big survival thing, which arguably might have even been worse if everyone went along with Casey's original plan. But yeah, just, I don't know. I'm not experienced in these matters. I don't know how these things work. So Anthem could be around for another year. It could be around for another month. Who knows? But I'd like to see their at least what they've planned for the community, at least in their launch date. The next 3 months, 6 months, they have all this content. Maybe that'll spark some interest. Maybe they'll fix the bugs. Maybe they'll fix all the other problems. But who knows? Thanks for listening, guys.